All right. Hi, everybody. I want to talk a little bit about the eviction moratorium. I have some rentals. I thought maybe some of you might have some too. So what does that mean? Does every tenant not have to pay their rent? Got 90 days of no rent coming in from anybody? What does that mean for us? Well, it doesn't mean that. So the moratorium is there for people who are impacted by the COVID-19, right? They've lost their jobs, but maybe not lost their jobs, they've had a sizable decrease in their income and they're unable to pay their rent. So, before I forget, this is not legal advice. It's an opinion of some guy, right? So if you want legal advice, you can talk to your attorney, maybe your accountant, that kind of thing. But this is just me, that realtor guy. So interesting, you may find it interesting, the top 5 reasons for eviction. Guess what number 1 is? Non-payment of rent. Number 2, lease violation. Number 3, property damage. Number 4, illegal activity. And number 5, just the expiration of the lease, right? So those are your top 5 reasons. Not everything revolves around COVID-19 and my ability not to pay the rent. So, if I can't evict someone because they can't pay the rent, does that mean I can't evict them because they are doing illegal activity and damaging and tearing up my property? No, that's not what that means. This is all about the money, all about the COVID-19 impact. So the moratorium is for those affected by COVID-19 through, at this point, May 31st. We'll see if that changes. And one of the things to keep in mind is there's also no late fees. So if your tenant can't pay, you can't hit them with a late fee either, right? And then the other thing is, we're supposed to be compassionate and work with them. They're going through a tough time. We're all going through a tough time. So we have to know that that's the expectation. So when you move down the line and maybe you get into court with the eviction, they're going to say, well, he was a jerk. And they're going to maybe not favor your perspective as much as they could. The other thing, the tenants have an obligation, right? They can't just not pay. They have to provide the reason for not paying, and it has to be related to COVID-19 income within 7 days of their due date of their rent. If they haven't done that, they don't legally have a reason not to pay their rent. And then the other thing is, tenants, it's really, it's a delay in their rent. I don't know a lot of tenants that are going to be able to say, okay, I can't pay my rent for 3 months. And then in 6 months, after I've got my job back, I'm going to be able to pay all that back, plus the rent I still owe, that's the deal. So you're, within a reasonable time frame. Well, what's a reasonable time frame? 90 days to 180 days seems like what I've been reading. So basically, if a tenant chooses not to pay their rent for 3 straight months, let's just say their rent's $2,500. That's $7,500. So within the next 180 days, you're going to want your $7,500 plus my $2,500 a month while they were able to pay it. So, a tenant that thinks the easy way out is not paying might be missing something and could be staring down a foreclosure later on anyway. The other thing to remember is that while you can still evict for other reasons, like I said, property damage, illegal activities, whatever, the problem isn't that you can't leave, there's no moratorium on it. The problem is a lot of the courthouses are closed, or certainly minimal staffing. So the odds of you getting somebody to process that eviction and come out and actually lock them out during this time for almost any reason is probably not going to happen. So you need to keep that in mind. Be practical, be reasonable. But those are just some of the thoughts about the moratorium on evictions. I hope that helps. Have a great day.